Test.
We can hear you.
Okay, good.
Hi there.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the OSGeo Annual General Meeting for 2020. Uh, we are going to have a virtual event this year due to the COVID situation. So we have sent invitations to our community to join this event, and we can start now. Hopefully, it will take us less than 2 hours. Um, this meeting usually happens at Phosphor-Gs, and where we gather many of our members. But this year, for the first time since Calgary was canceled, we we will do this virtually, and hopefully this will be a good opportunity for everyone to attend, even those who have never been able to attend the Phosphor-G. So welcome once again. We will start with a slideshow, and we have a great list of volunteers, and the board is here, and everybody is here to help. So we are going to run through the slides, and we are going to give the microphone to everybody who is listed as a speaker. So let's start with a short introduction of OSGeo. OSGeo is a non-for-profit software foundation. It started in 2006, and it's a legal entity nowadays. And our goal is to provide financial, organizational, and legal support for our projects, and also for the developers and our community. We are mostly focused on outreach and advocacy, and we are trying to promote the adoption of open source geospatial technology all over the world. We have many local chapters that are going to, many of them are going to report here today. So we are hoping that today the AGM is all about hearing from the community and our members, and get feedback on what is the situation in 2020. So we try to form partnerships as an organization in order to help open standards, open data, open education. And we are exclusively a volunteer-driven organization, which means that we are living through our passionate members, and we thrive through contribution of individuals or from all around the world. Um, so here's where we are activated on. We're working with our members and our partners to help promote open source software, obviously, but also we are promoting open data, open standards, open education, and open science. We have specific committees for each one of our goals, and some initiatives that people are gathering up and forming initiatives and working groups in order to help OSGeo work through these goals. Next slide, Astrid. Yeah, thank you. So I will give you a short status overview where OSGeo is right now. So we have an open and free membership. Anyone who can sign in on our wiki or on our website is a member of OSGeo. But we elect charter members every year, and we formalize the membership in this way by accepting people who have contributed a lot, and and this happens every year, and we're going to start the elections right after next year or so. We have 454 elected charter members, so that's 33 more members than last year. And we have many people joining our website. We have 1,276 members on the website, and we have more than 35,000 unique subscribers on our mailing lists. So we see every year an increase of this number, and this year we had more than 2,000 joining our mailing lists. Next slide. So we have projects that have been participating in OSGeo. We have an incubation program so that our projects get incubated. So right now we have 21 projects that are active, and the OSGeo board is keeping an eye on projects. We have a new project that has joined this year, PRODS, and congratulations to the PRODS community. Unfortunately, this year we had to move 4 projects away from incubation status to community status because they failed to report for the last couple of years. But we see a lot of we see a lot of new projects that are willing to join OSGeo, and we are doing this through our community projects program. So we have 24 new and relatively small projects that have joined OSGeo, and 2 of them have officially joined community project program in 2000 in this year. Actually, we have 3 or 4 in the process, so this number will hopefully go up later. We have our local chapters all around the world, official chapters, unofficial chapters, people that are forming communities and are helping OSGeo to thrive in local in regional events. So we welcome this year Kosovo a local chapter, and we will hear from our local chapters later in the presentations. So next slide, please. So OSGeo is giving the opportunity to sponsors to show themselves and also help us with our goals. So we are working along with our sponsors and our partners, and we have a very active sponsoring program that recognizes the financial support across all our activities, projects, and events. And we have established a new options for sponsors that are willing to either sponsor an event or sponsor a code sprint. And now we have a better way to organize how this is communicated through our sponsoring program. And the next slide shows the current and active sponsors right now. So we want to thank all of the sponsors that are providing us with financial help in order to organize our events, our code sprints, who are actively helping the projects grow through paying developers, hiring developers, but also mostly about their contribution in financial contribution to our projects. So a big thank you to all our sponsors for this year, and we hope to get more as things get better, and we will be able to host a live conference at some point in the future. So next slide. So more about the partners. The partners right now, we have many MOUs, memorandums of understanding with other organizations, and we have been growing the partnership with them through establishing new MOUs and getting them to join us through common goals about supporting open geospatial all around the world. We are in the process of creating a new MOU with the International Association for the Study of Commons. And we also recently started a partnership with ISO, TC, and also we are about to renew our partnership with Ogc this year. So we will hear more about that from on the board report later on. So next slide, please. And here's the status for this year. We have the board of directors, which are here to present some of the slides that are going to follow. And I would like to thank all of our officers, all of our committee officers, the board directors, and everybody involved in this big OSGeo family here. So now I'm going to pass over the slides to Till, who is our chairman of the OSGeo board, to give us a short report from the OSGeo board. Till, are you here?
Hi all, Till here. Yeah, thank you, Angelos. I also like to thank you that you took over the post as the president from my side. I took over more or less the job from that Jody did a few years when he was member of the board. So my regular job is chairing the board meetings, and I just want to give you some introduction about what we are doing there. So normally we have our board meetings regularly once per month, which is always the last Monday in a month, so 16 UTC. It's open on RSC, so everybody is invited to join and to participate and to see what we are doing there. But this year we had quite a few more face-to-face meetings through our Jitsi board channel, which is also linked here. And yeah, this was, as you could imagine, mainly due to the COVID-19 incident that came up. So we had a meeting where we did a review of our budget and talked about many of the Phosphor-G related meetings, and see coming that meeting by meeting had to be cancelled. I think there will be some more information on that later in the slides about all the meetings that had to be cancelled this year. I think the most painful cancellation, of course, was the cancellation of Phosphor-G 2020 in Calgary, which also led to an irregular board meeting with the organizer. In the moment, we are also in close contact with the local organizing committee of the next year's conference in 2021, and to keep being updated on what happened there, how their planning is going on, and so on. But I think we're also going to hear about that later a little bit more. Beside our meetings, we have an issue tracker on Witea, which is also linked here, so everybody is able to follow our to-do lists and to-dos, and to see whether we do a good job or not a good job. And which is also open to everybody, and linked here is our Lumio account, where we do all our motions. So anything we have to vote about is put on Lumio, and everybody could see who of the board members voted in which way and stuff like that. Also, which is not linked here, but if you look at the wiki, you will all find all the minutes of our meetings and see what the topics have been in the last time. So this is about our board meetings, and I think the next slide is I pass over to Michael, our long-year treasurer, for the OSGeo 2020 treasurer report. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. As you can see, we do still have a positive balance in our bank accounts. Obviously, this has been a challenging year for OSGeo with the cancellation of Phosphor-G 2020. But even with the 2021 Phosphor-G seed funding and the 2020 cancellation costs included, we're still, maintaining about $260,000 in our current bank account, 220,000 euros. Some of that we have in euros. Wanted to let people know that we do have a euro account now. Big thanks to Stephen Feldman, who provided us the information on TransferWise, which is something we've set up with OSGeo, and it's been really helpful for us to manage money and move money and send money to different projects and individuals around the world. It's made my life a lot easier, and hopefully allows us greater transparency, because now the rest of the board can see all the financial transactions, and we can provide that inspection for anybody who requests that. We established our 2020 budget back in January when things looked quite a bit different, and we had planned for about $220,000 US for spending. Obviously, that's going to be quite tight this year with all the issues going on with COVID-19. Currently, year to date, we spent about $78,000 with all of our various expenses. And so while we will try to support most of the initiatives in our budget, they've kind of be done on a case-by-case basis. So if people can put off expenses, that's fine. But if they're stuff that certainly leads to, future development and other things like that, OSGeo does have the resources to continue our budget allocation, but maybe not just everybody. Next slide, please. And we do have a financial guidance document. This was produced last year, but it's available on our website for individuals wishing to request funding from OSGeo and for various initiatives, what the general approach is. It's just an available document for people that want to basically set up code sprints and other projects that need funding from OSGeo. Next slide, and I think that transfers over to Astrid.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the AGM. Now it's time for the secretary report, and as we heard from Till already, he took some work that normally the secretary does, do the reports of the meetings and Lumio session, Lumio votings, and documentation. And the work that I do as secretary is, in most cases, I take the contributor license agreements. I get mails from contributors that want to join our community. And this year I received 34 of these licenses, and especially from GeoNode, Geoserver, and GeoTools. And then I save them in the repository and welcome the new contributors. That's the job that I do. Then I take care of the memorandums of understandings. In 2020, we did not sign a new memorandum of understanding. The last one was Qgis, that was in November 2019. So it should be part of this AGM as well, and is mentioned later in the MOO overview. So next slide.
So, okay, thank you, Astrid. Thank you, Till and Mike, for your reports. Since we are going to run the elections in the next couple of months, the board has appointed again Jorge and Anne from last year, so they are our chief returning officers. I'm not sure if Jorge is here to present.
Yes, I am.
Hello. All right. Please present the slides.
So, hello everybody. Nice to see you here for this virtual meeting. So, like every year, we invited new people to participate in OSGeo. Last year, the elections ran smoothly without any problem. From the last year, we are trying to connect this voting and this acquisition of new members connected with our website. So last year, everybody created a profile, uploaded photos. We have a valid emails, and I think it's a very nice effort. So this community starts to be more connected, and we can see the faces and the profiles of everybody participating. For this year, we might have to involve more the local groups. We don't have our international meeting, so I think it will be more a job for the local groups to identify the persons that should come to the OSGeo, but this is our work. So everything is set up for the new elections. I thank you, the board, for trusting me and to run the elections, and everything is on our side, the platform and so on. So I think it will run also smoothly again, and we'll try to keep this pressure so everybody has a profile and a photo on the website, so it's easy to identify people from the website.
These are the voting activity statistics that were obtained from the last 2 years. The first graph, you can see that there was a total of 156 members that did not vote last year. And for the last 2 years, 63 members did not vote at all in those 2 years. I encourage everybody to vote this year. We will probably be starting to actually enforce the 2-year voting period. It's up to discussion in the board, but these are the numbers, and they look pretty bad. Next slide.
All right, so let's, Tom, are you here to present the next slides?
Hi, thanks, Angelos. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Excellent. Thank you. So I'll provide some update on some of our interactions and work with ISO and OGC in the following slides. The first thing I'd like to talk about is in the past year, we've established a liaison with ISO TC Technical Committee 211. So that is the technical committee at ISO which deals with geographic information. And they provide a variety of standards around APIs and data formats and so on. So in June of this year, we finalized a Category A liaison with TC211, which will provide provide information sharing and increased awareness between the foundation and TC211. So I think this is good for OSGeo, the community, to get insight into the standards that are developing and evolving at TC211, so that we can be aware of what standards development efforts are going on there, which will help our community and our implementations and our interoperability. Part of the Category A liaison involves access to the documentation, as well as potentially contributing to various work groups in the form of participating in meetings or nominating various experts from our community. So I think this is a valuable strategic liaison and an opportunity, and we welcome anybody in the community who's interested to get in touch on getting involved in participating in the various activities through TC211. The liaison is for a 2-year duration. So contact one of us and we'll be happy to get you hooked up. Next slide, please. Moving over to some of our interactions with the Open Geospatial Consortium. We've established, we have some OSGeo certification services for OGC compliance. So you may or may not be aware that the OGC compliance activities have the capability for implementations or compliant products or reference implementations to be advertised on the OGC website and approved for that matter. I think that's valuable for a lot of our tools, which implement a lot of our software in the community, which implement the OGC standards at varying degrees. So we provide a core certification service. So if you need to register your software tool or product, client, server, what have you, as an implementation, as a compliant product, or as a reference implementation, we can help you with that. And that means the back and forth with OGC, making sure your product is stamped for a period of 12 months. There is an annual update that does happen, and we help out with that as well. So in addition to that, we also provide demo virtual machine hosting. So through the good work at our System Administration Committee, we do have the capability of hosting demo VMs, which a lot of projects currently use to make their products available. And we typically see demo VMs coming out of reference implementations that are stamped by the OGC. So this is another service that we provide. And check out the wiki page below to get involved. So I think this is for those that are interested. It's a great opportunity to stamp your software product with OGC compliance. Next slide, please. More on OGC collaboration. So following on from our face-to-face board discussion in Bucharest last year, we had a discussion with, part of that involved discussion with Scott Simmons from OGC, and we discussed a variety of topics around increasing and hardening or further hardening our sustained collaboration with OGC. So things that came up during those meetings and things that have sort of gone on since then is, increased OGC and OSGeo participation at our various sprints and hackathons. The OGC quite recently is increasing their activities around sprints and hackathons. So we're happy to see some OSGeo participation, and we encourage more participation from the community for the various OGC sprints. And they're free to attend, whether you're online or what have you. So that's one goal that we're trying to move forward. We also saw continued progress on the Site Team engine, which is the compliance and interoperability testing engine that the OGC develops, and it makes good sense to get that through the as an OSGeo project via the Incubation Committee. So there's going to be more on that through the Incubation Committee report later on in this presentation. Membership coordination. So we do have access to 6 slots for a 1-year period of people to be OGC members through OSGeo. Contact the selection committee. So if you click on the wiki link, contact the selection committee for a slot. I will tell you it's valuable to be involved on the various specifications as they develop for early adoption and quicker delivery to market. So finally, we are reviewing the Memorandum of Understanding, which was created between OGC and OSGeo. It's a good time to look at that again, assess that, and see what that all means and how we can move forward in doing a gap analysis and seeing what we can update there. So that is going on as well. Feel free to contact us if you want to be part of that Memorandum of Understanding review.
Thank you, Tom. Let's hear from Kodrina now for the conferences.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the AGM from my side as well. So we are going to talk a little bit about one of the most beautiful parts of OSGeo, the OSGeo conferences. Next slide, please. So we are in very complicated times, interesting, but not in a good way. So a lot has happened, and most of you are aware. Unfortunately, the global event has been cancelled due to the pandemic that we're going through. Things are still quite unclear related to what is going to happen, but we are adjusting just like everybody else. And we had events that went online, like the Bolsana Code Sprint, which was held online, and the Phosphorgy UK that you're going to hear more about in just a few moments. For example, Phosphorgy Europe is has been postponed for next year, so it's still happening in the same place but postponed. For Phosphorgy 2021. We'll hear more from Malena, but it's still on track. So we are trying to adjust to the let's say complicated situation that we are going through, but we are highly supportive of what is happening online. So in the next year, probably you'll see a lot of changes in the way that we work, but everything is going to be made readily available and in a very transparent way. So just stay tuned. So I'd like to invite Stephen to tell us a little bit about his experience with Phosphorgy UK, a very successful online event that I was happy I could participate, and I really liked it. So Stephen, please.
Okay. So although it was Phosphorgy UK, it was a global event. It was a free event, 1,000 people registered. We're not certain how many people in total attended. We think somewhere around 600. The maximum we had online at any moment was 450. We had delegates from 77 countries. Half the delegates, almost exactly, were not from Great Britain. So it really was a global event. We ran 3 streams. You can see keynotes, talks, lightning talks, 38 speakers. We didn't do as well on gender diversity as we would have liked, but it was still good that we managed to get 10 women speaking. I'm not sure whether speaking on Zoom is a plus or a minus for different people. You know, lots of people felt strange presenting to a screen rather than seeing an audience. I know I found that strange, but it's also less intimidating when you haven't got 250 people sitting in front of you. So it's got its ups and its downs. I think really important thing to say is it only took 6 of us 7 weeks to put together this fairly large event for 1,000 people. And it cost us under £200. That's about $250 net in current exchange rates. And although it was a free event, we asked people to donate, and we got somewhere in the region of £2,500 in donations from about 90 individuals and companies. That's a pretty low donation rate, and that's something, you know, that people thinking of running free events would need to think about. If you're going to run an event that's free with donations and you're only getting about 15% of your attendees actually donating, that's not a very good result, I don't think. And I think also another thing that we recognized afterwards was that if we'd made a very small charge, say a $5 or a $10 charge, we would have probably got the 500 to 600 people who attended the event to still pay to come to the event for $5 or $10. The people who just registered and didn't show up would have probably been the people that were discouraged, and that's another lesson learned. There's a link at the bottom to all the other things that we learned from the event. And within 2 or 3 days of the conference, we had all of the talks up on our YouTube channel. And so you can go and watch any of those talks and listen to those whenever you want to. Next slide.
All right, thank you, Stephen. Malena, are you here?
No, I'm here. I'm sorry, I'm not Malena.
Sorry.
So yes, Malena is working right now and she couldn't make it, but I'm here. We are co-chairing this FOSFOG 2021. We are crossing fingers very hard, expecting that there is some vaccine or something that allows us to make the conference face-to-face, but we are prepared to make it online, transition to online. We will see it in the first semester of next year. We will transition. We haven't opened the ticket sales and the sponsorship opportunities yet, just because we are doing the final touches on how to do this properly so we can sell tickets now and look for sponsorships, but be able to transition properly to an online version and not having people paying the 500,000 or 300,000 ticket price for an online event if it's online in the end. So I think the website is not finished yet, but you can already start checking. There's a lot of soon to come texts, but you can already check. It's going to be in September, end of September next year. This is because the weather in Argentina is better in the next year. And if you move to the next slide, there is a video. I don't know if the sound is going to, can you play it? If there is no sound, I can still talk. And if it's not playing, then yes, no sound, right? So this is Buenos Aires, where this flower is right outside the conference venue. So we are probably going to have some lunch there, weather permits, which should be. And this is the conference venue, one of the two places where we are going to host it. It's going to be two buildings, one next to each other. And this is Buenos Aires, which you can see is a very beautiful city and very vibrant and dynamic, and has a lot of, not only a lot of cultural things that are interesting, like tango, which we hope you can enjoy when you get there, but also it's very modern and it's very, it's nice to visit. And our idea is that if we can make it there, it's going to be a very, very social, and we hope to make people easy to interact with each other. And we are preparing a lot of social events. We really hope we can make it. And the idea is going to be 1 week with the usual FOSFOG stuff, and try to be as free and open source as we can. And I have to say, I'm from Europe, I live in Spain, I'm helping them. And they are one of the most free and open source communities I have seen in OSGeo. So it will be great if we can be there and see them in action. And that's it. I invite all of you to come to Buenos Aires or watch us online if we cannot make it in person.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you very much. So now let's move on to the community sprints, a report on the events and community sprints for this year. Next slide, please. So basically, we had planned an OSGeo community sprint for Athens. So obviously, this got postponed in May, and we are now looking to make the plan for next May of 2021. We have not yet determined the exact dates, and obviously this will also depend on how COVID situation is. The good news is that all the sponsors are willing to continue their support for the event, so nobody retracted, and thank you for that. And soon we will release on the wiki new information about the community sprint in Athens. And hopefully we are also discussing at the board level to have some kind of virtual code sprint this year. And there are also discussions with OGC about sharing a sprint. So we will let you know in the following weeks if there's such a plan ahead. Next slide, please. All right, Jody, are you here? Can you give us an
Yep,
update?
I can speak to that.
Hello.
So yeah, we organized a Bolsena 2020 sprint. Obviously, we couldn't go in person, so we changed to a work from home format. Thanks to GeoCat for giving me time to help organize this one. And especially thanks to all the projects that showed up. The one thing that was really nice about this being an OSGeo sprint is we were able to see that all important collaboration across projects. We were able to get some integration between JTS and GeoTools and GeoNetwork. OSGeo Live showed up and really worked on their Geoserver story. So it was a really good example of OSGeo adapting to our COVID world at the moment. There's slides and a wiki that you can click on if you're interested. We used a very small amount of our budget. I was hoping to send takeout to all the attendees so we could have a group lunch. What we did do is we sent out nice t-shirts and thank you cards to all the people who participated. We had 20 to 30 people participate from a range of projects. That's it.
Thank you, Jody. So for our next slide, do we have Peter here?
Yeah, Peter is not here, I think, so I can
Hello,
speak
Helena.
instead of him. Yeah,
Thank
yes.
you.
So as most of you know, we usually participate in different events where we have booths or sessions and related conferences. So practically all of these conferences were either canceled or moved online. So our traditional town hall meeting at EGU was replaced by data help desk, and I will talk about that a little bit later. And the conference was postponed to 2021, but there was also participation in some of these other conferences. So that's all that I have about this.
Thank you, Helena, for the report. So now we will move to the OSGeo committees, and we will hear from them about what was their about the report and what happened during the last since the last time we met. So basically, this is a list of our active OSGeo committees. Those committees meet on IRC or conference calls, and they are self-organizing how they operate these days, obviously. You can find the mission and name of the people involved and links to the working documents on their wiki pages. And we are highly encouraging you to join a committee, to join the mailing list and contribute, because the committees are doing the heavy work for our organization, and we need all the volunteers that are available there. So let's move to the next. Also, we have one new committee information, which is the lexicon committee. We will hear about that later. So let's start the reports from our committees. And is Maria here? Maria Brovelli here to present this for the UN committee?
I didn't see Maria, so it's Serena. I can present.
Hello, Serena. Thank you for joining.
Yes, so the UN committee is going from strength to strength, and the number of people participating is increasing, and also at the United Nations, the uptake of open source GIS is growing. So they're looking at a hybrid architecture and moving towards that, and we also help them with mobile data collection tools and things like that. So the UN challenge, we have received those resources, but that still has to be started. And then on the next slide, you will see the working groups. That's the different focus areas. A new one is the one on artificial intelligence. So if anybody's interested, they can just contact either Maria or me, and we can put them into contact and get them involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Serena. I just wanted to add that on the after the AGM, we will have an artificial intelligence room to join if you're interested. All right. So for Geo for All, we have Victoria here to present. Hi, Victoria.
Well, thank you, Angelos. Welcome, everyone. So just a quick update on Geo for All. We are currently at about 140 labs internationally. We have a bit of a discrepancy between the wiki page and the new website. So if there's anyone in the lab and your lab is not yet on the new website, please fill in the form so that we can just update all the labs. Then just want to highlight the newsletter. We have 12 editions a year. This is also translated into Spanish. So if you have any news or events, please do submit it to the editors. It would be great if you share your news as well. Then last year we started to host a virtual one-day, 1 hour, a couple of hours conference as part of the World Commons Week. This is going to take place again on the 13th of October. If anyone wants to join, please have a look at the Geo for All mailing list. The information will be coming soon. Then lastly, we are busy arranging a global student competition. This is still in progress, so if anyone wants to get involved in the organizing, please send me an email and we would love to have additional input. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. So we are moving to the marketing committee and Jody.
Well, Enoch is here. I have to take this for us. So thank you. So the marketing committee has, we have new co-chairs now, myself and Jody. We normally have regular meetings every last Friday of the month at 14 hours UTC. The platform to be used is always communicated on our mailing list. So yeah, if you're interested, just subscribe to our list and then watch out for the next marketing committee meeting. So for outreach activities, the map skipping podcast, we provide communications with them, and we are scheduled to be having podcast on OSGeo projects featured in this podcast. So yeah, OSGeo projects can also get in touch with us, and then we look at this. So and the next one is a ROOF Forum, which is a consortium of African universities across the continent. We had one outreach with them, and then they're interested in using OSGeo Live and OSGeo tools across their partner institutions. So social media outreach has been good since we are social distancing and far away. Our Twitter page and Facebook. We are on LinkedIn now and kind of much active, and especially on Facebook. And of course, our YouTube channel as well. So let's outreach this, due to COVID, we all know, and we still have some much more. Where's your live USB sticks there and flyers, some distributed recently. So yeah, if you are planning any event, any activities, don't hesitate to get in touch with the marketing committee, contact us, and we also need volunteers to support and then keep spreading the force. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Enoch. We're having some trouble with the slides. Astrid, yeah, just 1 minute to get the slides back up. Some technical problem. Next, we will hear from Jody about the Incubation Committee. So, Jody, are you here for this?
I am, in fact, still here.
Yeah.
So next slide, just a quick update from the Incubation Committee. We're really focused on the care and feeding of projects. We did request a budget specifically towards helping our projects that are going through the incubation process this year. We've got no requests from the projects yet, so we're well under budget there. On a related note, there is a budget for the community projects, and that's managed by the board. Occasionally, there's a little bit of confusion between the two, so I just wanted to underline the Incubation Committee is really responsible for that incubation process that sets up, welcomes new projects into the foundation. This is an outreach role similar to the marketing committee, but we're focused on working with development teams and helping them learn like everything that goes into open source. Next slide. We've had a really nice success this year. Proj has started incubation in May, and completed incubation in November of last year. So this, I think, is a record for one of the fastest projects graduating. So really well done by the Proj team. We have reviewed a couple projects joining the OSGeo community project pile, Geo Health Check, Geostyler, Geo EXT, and Rasterman is back. Welcome back, Rasterman. Rasterman started going through the incubation process some years ago and dropped out. And we actually set up the community project initiative in part to take care of projects like Rasterman. There's a couple projects that are kind of missing in action, Mapfish and Awesome. So I'm hoping the board will have a chance to look into that. Other than that, we have all of our projects still in incubation. The Meta CRS project withdrew from incubation and really focused on just incubating that one project. I think that's my update.
Thank you, Jody, for the update. And now let's move to the conference committee. Vasile or Till, who is here?
I think Vasily is there, huh?
Yes, I'm here. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Hello.
Okay, so the conference committee, we are the committee that is overseeing our main event and the regional events, which are the most affected right now because of the pandemic. So after Bucharest, we have two new co-chairs of the committee. One is me and the other one is Misili Kale. And we started with the situation when the Calgary team had to cancel the conference. And this should give us a few subjects to discuss for the future of this event, because it's not easy for Buenos Aires as well. And I think we should work a bit on our bid process and change that to take in consideration such events. We've been waiting until now for something to change in the world, but it's clear that this will take more than a few months. So I think we should really start to work and change a bit the way we used to do this event. This is very clear. So we didn't do much until now for the next edition, which is 2022, should be in Europe. But along with Misili Kale, we'll start thinking the board and take some decision, because we need to make some changes. Again, the travel grant program, if we are not moving, we now need currently a travel grant, and we should see how this should work in the future if the events will not be or move more to the online. So this is it. Many people discussed about events in the previous slides, so nothing for me to add, but just to announce you that we'll start a serious discussion about the future of our main and regional events very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Vasile. Just a reminder, we have like an open discussion after the AGM. So maybe we should discuss about the future of FOSS4G during that hour we have. So next, we will hear from the Open Geoscience Committee. And I think Helena will present it.
Yes, I think Peter is still not here, so I will talk about that. So Open Geoscience Committee, usually the main event is, as I mentioned, at EGU, the town hall. So that was replaced by participation in the first virtual data help desk event at EGU. And it seemed to work really well. So we will keep doing that, and it will become a regular event. So please keep an eye on this through OSGeo Discuss and through other channels, because this data help desk format essentially allows people from all over the world, they can join and they can ask questions about the data and about the tools. So we had a couple people participating, and there were, it was considered quite a success, although it was all online. It's usually at the conference. So that's all about Open Geoscience Committee.
Thank you, Helena. So now we move to the System Administration Committee.
Vicky
Jody.
tagged me in to present. I joined the Sysadmin Committee to mostly do care and feeding of the website last year. I had a surprise role this year with the need to set up a Nexus repository to keep the OSGeo Java community rolling. So that was quite unexpected and exciting. Other than that, we're starting to manage our SSH keys in LDAP, and we're starting the process of migrating our wiki to use that OSGeo IDs. So that's currently in progress. Other than that, we still provide a wide range of services, doc sharing, Git repos, supporting our voting process, many mailing lists. And then we do have a presence on GitHub, Travis, YouTube, and all the other kinds of things. Opportunities for 2021, we are working on single sign-on, and something about new containers, that's probably down at the hardware level. That said, we're currently under budget. We're spending a little bit on domains and so forth. So Sysadmin Committee is happy meeting every couple weeks, sometimes once a month.
Thank you, Jody. So now let's move to the Code of Conduct Committee. Vicky?
Yes. We have a new member who is Michael Smith. Maria Arias and me are the co-chairs, and Jody and Michael are the other members from the Code of Conduct Committee. If you have a case, you can choose to send the case to all of us, or a person in particular. It's going to be handled in a very private manner, the cases. And the work done for this year, thanks to Jody, he updated the information on the wiki page. And without conferences, well, we didn't receive any new cases this year. That's good. And our plans for the future for this coming year is the revision and update of the Code of Conduct that we are using, so that we keep it up to the current situations of the world. And please, all the instructions to create a case are on the link of the wiki page of the Code of Conduct Committee. Thanks.
Thank you, Vicky. So next we have a forming committee. It's not yet official. So I think Kodrina will.
Yeah, I am going to talk a little bit about it. I'm going to take the shoes of Cameron, because he is the leader and the one that has been pushing this new committee to form. So this is a new group of working people inside OSGeo that are interested in developing and maintaining a small community that takes care of geospatial terms in a professional way. We are very happy to say that we're working together with people from ISO, from the Terminology Maintenance Group, and from OGC. I think the definition, I forgot the name of the small of the OGC segment, but it's something related to the maintenance of definitions of terminology. We're also working with some very good technical writers to help us do this in a very professional and sustainable way. We are at the beginning, so we aren't yet an official committee, but we are making very fast steps in getting there. We have a manifesto, we have the mailing list, we have a Slack channel where we talk, and being at the beginning of everything, it would be a good time to join, at least to follow the discussions if you're interested in such a in such a thing, let's say. So basically, the Lexicon Committee is working to building an OSGeo glossary, so terms that are let's say cross-domain for all the OSGeo projects. So I think I covered it up. So thank you.
Thank you, Katrina. So now we are already 1 hour in the AGM. So let's now start getting the reports from our official OSGeo projects. First we have GRASS, presented by Marcus. Marcus, are you here? Or
Yes,
Helena?
Marcus
Hello.
is here. I think, Marcus, you should talk. Marcus, you should talk.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I can report happily that we have been working hard on the GRASS 7.8 release, which main improvement is that we are on Python 3, and this naturally brings a lot of changes when you have a great big code base there. So we came up with many fixes and improvements. This is ongoing, especially at time. We have a new graphical user interface startup. This is then probably for GRASS 8. So there will, after 7, there will be 1.8 release in some time from now. Besides the software efforts, we have been revamping entirely the GRASS website. So this has been the existing content management system has been replaced by a Hugo-based system, which is Markdown and some extra stuff, and it's really fancy. And I think please visit it. You can see a screenshot on the right side, how it looks like now. Much easier. It's working on mobile phone finally. I agree, we are a few years delayed with that, but finally it is there, and it was co-funded by OSGeo. A big thanks to OSGeo for the financial support here. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to realize everything. The code, by the way, you'll find on GitHub. There's an edit button everywhere, like in other projects. So if you want to contribute, just hit the button and send a pull request, or open an issue or comment on it. On the lower right side, you see the start of the new graphical user interface, or the modified one, let's say. The big difference here is you are no longer presented with a strange startup screen where nobody knew what to put in. But now you, like in most GIS systems, you just reach the GIS directly. Then you have the data management there. You can see some highlights here, the boxes and such, so you can switch between different GRASS databases, pick conveniently the maps you want to see, and of course do all the analysis. Concerning code management, we have completed the migration from SVN and Track to GitHub. Issues have been moved there as well. Source code is already there. We have GitHub Actions activated. That means we get a short code quality analysis which with each pull request. So when we submit things, then it is tested on Ubuntu, on CentOS. There's Python code style testing and such. This is quite helpful, so we avoid in the first place that broken code easily gets in. Of course, it can still be logically broken, but at least syntactically not anymore. We have done 3 virtual meetings with developers and users, which have been well attended. I would say with all the COVID mess still, many people have learned a lot that virtual conferences are possible. And this we can also apply in this regard here. And so we are going on with that, enabling people from all kinds of the areas of the world to participate. And this is hopefully also lowering some barrier here. Yeah, that's it, what I can report for the GRASS project. Thanks.
Thank you, Marcus. Now we are moving to QGIS. And Anita?
Hi, yeah, I can present QGIS results. We've had 3 major releases since the last OSGeo AGM in 2019, which the first 2 are, like always, named after our developer meeting locations in A Coruña and in Bucharest. For the 3.14 release, the current one, we luckily picked the name Pi. So we kind of ran out of developer meetings after Bucharest due to the current situation, but it's a good coincidence because you just cannot miss the opportunity to have a version that is called Pi. Also, in connection with OSGeo this year, we had one Google Summer of Code student again. So that went really well to develop some more 3D capabilities for QGIS. Besides that, we also have our own grant program, which had a total budget of 60,000 euros this year. And as you can see, it's 40,000 for development work and 20,000 for documentation work, which is great that we have so many volunteers to work on documentation, and we can now support them as well. The rest of the budget is mostly for bug fixing again, so there's around 85,000 euros for that. Also, to replace the in-person meetings, we have started a new initiative which will be monthly, and they are QGIS Hackfests, and they're pronounced Quackfests. So you're invited every last Friday of the month. There will be an online Hackfest, Quackfest, and everyone's welcome: developers, documentation writers, users. Yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Anita, for the report. Moving to GVSig now. Do we have Mario here or somebody else to report? I guess not. So yeah, let's move on to GeoMoose.
Yeah, we had a
Hello.
We had a fairly successful year for GeoMoose this year with many new releases and new features. As you can see on the slide, I'm not going to read it to you. The biggest thing that I'm excited about is that we finally have internationalization support. And so we would be looking for some help with translations.
All right, thank you for the report. Next slide is for Gdal.
Hi, everybody. So the Gdal project is pursuing smoothly its road. So we had the 3.0 version, which of course required some adaptation by downstream software, mostly due to the Approach 6 adoption. But 3.1, which was released in May this year, is back to a regular feature release with, for example, the cloud-optimized GeoTIFF driver, which makes it one step to create a cog file. We also have a new API, multi-dimensional API to deal with some data formats like NetCDF, HDF4, HDF5. We have now the ability to write vector drivers in Python, so this can be convenient for quick prototyping. An interesting new vector driver is a flat GeoBuff format, which tries to address new cases and which shines particularly for cloud uses. And we have also a new command line utility, Gdal Viewshed. We had 6 bug fix releases this year. And we have adopted a new release cadence with feature releases every 6 months instead of each year, and bug fix releases every 2 months. So the next major feature version will be 3.2 at the beginning of November this year, and I've outlined a few of the new features. So we'll have new drivers, improved drivers, and a new utility. That's it.
Thank you, Ivan. So moving on now to Orfeo Toolbox. Do we have the project officer here or somebody from the project? Okay, all right, let's move on to PyCSW then. All right, Tom.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, so basically a quick report on PyCSW. We continue to be in stable or maintenance mode. We take care of small enhancements and bug fixes. We did release 2.4.2 as a bug release. The project continues to get thousands of downloads per month, and it's used in a lot of downstream, continues to be used in a lot of downstream applications such as GeoNode and CCAN. So we're especially focused on keeping things stable. Having said that, we do continue to look to the future with the evolving OGC API efforts. So the relevant specification around PyCSW for that is the OGC API records specification. Two of the developers on the project are part of the standards working group for OGC API records. So we have early insight into how that specification is developing, which will help in early adoption and implementation into PyCSW. So overall, our roadmap is PyCSW 3 will become the long-term release for maintaining the OGC CSW 2 and 3 sort of present day catalog standards from OGC, and PyCSW 4 will have the OGC API records implementation moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Now we have GeoNode, and I think Florian is here from GeoNode.
Yes, I am. Can you understand me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, hello. This is my first AGM. I'm Florian. I'm from Germany and work at the Federal Research Institute, the Thünen Institute. And the GeoNode project had a very busy year. For example, we have a new PSC, and I'm one of the new members with Toni Schönbucher. So yeah, we have 5 PSC members. 3 of the old ones with loads of experience, like Alessa Fabiani and Francesco and Simone, and us 2 new ones. The GeoNode Summit had to be cancelled. It should be held at Brunswick, which is the headquarters of the Thünen Institute. The new contributor, we also signed the CLA, the contributor license agreement, and are a new contributor. And we look forward to make a virtual code sprint when in one of the next month. But we are currently very busy in writing a research call for the so-called NFTI for Agriculture Research Fund, which is a German research funding from the German Association for Research. And we as PSC member see some nice synergies which could help in further develop GeoNode as geospatial platform for research data, spatial research data sharing in a fair way. And therefore we try to work on this. We had some releases, some of them were on the 2.10 branch, which is the old branch, which is not any longer in maintenance and uses Python 2 and Django 1.11. And we had a release of GeoNode 3.0, a new major release, which is stable and we also maintain currently and develop further with Python 3.7 and Django 2.2 and a new Geoserver 2.16. We are currently busy in developing 3.1, which should be released in this year, I will say. And some of the new features are stuff like a better Docker setup and a Django project template with out-of-the-box features like LDAP support and monitoring with Logstash and stuff like that, as backup and restore options, as well as performance optimizations and improved security, like for example, geolimits, where you could define which features are public and which not. And the ongoing development effort also covers the REST API rework, which is ongoing, and we hope to release a fully codified REST API based on Swagger somewhere, end of 2020, beginning of 2021. Also, there were 2 webinars held by GeoSolutions, one about the GeoNode 3.1 version with all the new features highlighted and the roadmap presented, as well as a Mapstore 2 development webinar, which is the new mapping client inside of GeoNode.
Thank you. Thank you, Florian. We are moving now to PyWPS. Is somebody from the project here to present? Right, if If not, let's move on for now to Map Bender. Hi, is Olaf or Astrid here to present?
Here's Olaf. Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Yes, I'm here from AppBender. Despite of or because of COVID-19, we had a quite productive year, so we could focus on the code and coding and software. So we released a new version 3.2, which includes open layers and many enhancements and much refactoring of architecture and code structure. And because we have no easy upgrading from older MapBender versions to the newer ones because of this OpenLayers 6, we made, on the one hand, a 3.08 long-term release, which we will support until March 2020. And on the other hand, the new version 3.0 will include MapBender OpenLayers 2 and OpenLayers 6 APIs and applications. So we quite have a good compatibility to new geo portals. We made a community meeting in Bonn in October 2019. Sadly, that was the last time we met our community. Perhaps we're planning to make a new or an online meeting at the end of this year. We have no decision on this because we have much to do now. And we made a redesign of our website. Both the community meeting and the web page were sponsored by OSGeo. Thank you very much for this. For the future, our focus is on enhancing the new mobile design and responsive design of the map front end, so we get a more modern appearance of MapBender. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the report. And we now move to Map Server. Seth, are you going to give us a report?
Hi, everyone. So, yep, there's been a few Map Server releases this year. Map Cache is also part of the Map Server family. So there was a release in February, thanks to Jerome. And then in June, there was the 7.6 release. So that has the Proj 6 API support. Python 3.7 for MapScript was supported in that. There's additional SLD support and yeah, celebrating 20 years of the commit logs. There's also ongoing discussions this week for the upcoming 8.0 release. So there'll be a few things deprecated. And then probably one of the main new features that's being discussed actively this week is the Ogc API support, which will give a nice kind of REST API to Map Server if it goes ahead. So that's the ongoing discussions, and hopefully will be an 8.0 release towards the end of the year or early next year. Thanks.
Thank you, Seth, for the report. We now move to PostGIS. Is anyone?
I will speak for PostGIS as we are related a lot. I am Vicky. There has been a lot of movement, lots of releases with PostGIS, many bug fixes, many there has been a change of requirements from the version 2 that was from last time to the version 3. And we suggest that you start using PostGIS version 3.0 onwards. Thanks.
Thank you, Vicky. We now move to Geos. Is Sandro here or somebody from the Geos project? Okay. If not, let's move on to. Hello? Let's move on to Degree. And Thorsten?
Yeah, that's me. Hi, I'm Thorsten. I'm speaking for the Degree project, and we are quite happy that we, again, after a long time, every year, we passed successfully the OGC compliance test this year. with our bug fix version 3.4.12. Since then, we have released a bug fix version for the community as well. And we discovered in March this year that the project has been started around 20 years ago. And yeah, and it was exactly at the time when COVID-19 started. And I think it will be an online event. We don't know how we will celebrate it, but we will update our website soon to make it public to everyone that we have reached the 20 years already. For the future, we have to invest more time in our build infrastructure. We had, during the last years, a lot struggles with Travis and other CI environments, and now we moved back to Jenkins, and now it's running smoothly. We want to support Java 11 as soon as possible. We are still working on that. And by doing that, we want to enable the OGC team engine and the whole testing process furthermore. So we get a pipeline that gives us a very well-tested software at the end. This is our goal from building, and from feature-wise, we are still working and preparing to give the OGC API feature into the degree community project. This is also on our list for the next 12 months. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you for the report. Now we move on to Geo Network, and I think Paul is here.
Yes, can you hear me? Good.
Yeah.
So exciting times also in the GeoNetwork community. We're moving to a new backend based on Elasticsearch. And around that is a whole movement of splitting up the big project into microservices. This will probably happen in the next 6 months, which is quite exciting because it opens up many of the potentially individual components within GeoNetwork to other OSGeo projects. So for example, you could use the GeoNetwork harvesters to harvest metadata into an Elasticsearch engine and then use PyGeo API to expose that. But also the other way around. So we may actually be able to import existing components from the OSGeo group. So we had our 3.8 and 3.10 releases this and last year. And the Alpha 1 has arrived this summer, but it's still experimental. I hope the final will be scheduled by the end of this year. So in the 3.10, there was a major refactor of the JavaScript library. So it's now all based on OpenLayer 6. So we moved from 2 to 6, so that was quite an update. Workflow, so the going through the draft and publication and review mechanism has been improved. We changed to use all the OSGeo repositories, especially around GeoTools. So upcoming is the Elasticsearch. I put my name there, but I was one of the people recently being joined to the project steering committee. We had there was an online user conference, which was really well participated. I don't remember, but I think there were about 60 to 80 participants there. So it was really great. We had the Bolsena sprint. Nice shirt. Thank you, OSGeo. And the PhosphorGeo line, we presented there some workshops and talks. That was nice, a nice event too. So the upgrade of the Java version is quite a challenge for us. So that's a continuing discussion. We have some dependencies that are really old and not really maintained. So that will give some challenges in the coming weeks, months, years. I don't know. Was there another slide or this is it? Yeah, that was it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you, Paul, for the report. So now we are moving to OSGeo Live, and we have Brian to give the report.
I have a recording from him if nobody else is there.
OSGeo Annual General Meeting 2020. OSGeo Live project, built on long-term support releases of Linux OS, now in its 10th iteration, is a reference install of every OSGeo project, an educational vehicle in 10 human languages and counting, and a curated gallery and showcase of examples. Translation groups are forming around the world once again. News this year includes a relaxed development schedule for all the wrong reasons, a virus-proof ISO to be distributed across the internet, reliable installations of all the most popular applications under the OSGeo umbrella. Visit us at git.osgeo.org.
All right, we heard the report from Brian. Thank you. Let's move on with the next project. We have Geoserver up. Jody?
Yes, I'll speak to Geoserver. Our community's being pretty happy here in 2020. Just a little bit sad we can't see each other in person. We continue to release on our 6-month cycle with the occasional bug fix release. Our big activity this year was transitioning off the boundless repos and setting up a new Maven repository with OSGeo. Thank you for that. OSGeo is also involved in picking up all the domain names from that organization for Geoserver and GeoWebcache and GeoNode and all kinds of things. So that one is still in flight. We also have a new build server, which GeoCat set up to take over from the previously boundless hardware. So that was also quite a challenge to pick up all of our infrastructure and find it a new home. In terms of R&D, we've been really seeing a lot of active R&D on GeoPackage and also the various OGC APIs. So I'm quite excited to see that R&D happening, and I'm hoping to see it on the Geoserver roadmap upcoming. We do have some PSC changes. Nuno and Torben have joined the PSC team, so I really am glad to see those folks recognized and then also stepping up to a leadership role. In terms of community, we took part in the Bolsena 2020 Work From Home Sprint. We've also organized a couple other activities. We've got our Geoserver 2.18 release we're looking forward to. We continue to work on automating our site process. Once we have that automation in place, we're going to plan to set up a sprint in order to have a look at the test results and to start passing the tests. That's it for Geoserver. Well, maybe not. There is one important issue that's kind of a worldwide concern. The casual use of the word slave in computer software is really an unnecessary reference to a painful human experience. We've made some changes in our project. So we're using the words primary and replicant to describe our clustering solutions, allow list and block list to describe controlling network access, and key store password. One change to look forward to is changing our Git branch to be the main branch. So it's something I do encourage other OSGeo projects to look at. Yeah.
Thank you, Jody.
Guess I'm still up.
Yeah, you're still up.
GeoTools team is also cheerful. We do have one big joint QA activity for the GeoTools codebase. It's really nice to see developers from many organizations pitching in their time. We're going through and updating a lot of the language to newer Java syntax, and also going through and crushing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of warnings. So that should make the library easier to maintain and use. One challenge for us, we still have yet to put in our code of conduct in our Git repo, so we're going to have to work on that one. Thanks.
Thank you, Jody. We now move on to open layers. Is Andreas here or Bart? Okay, and unfortunately they couldn't make it. So, okay, let's move on now to the project.
Yes, so
Low even, yeah.
Yeah, Proj is now a full OSGeo project, and we were happy to complete graduation in a smooth way, as Jody underlined. So after Proj 6 last year, which was a main breakthrough for the project, we have had a new feature version in the beginning of March this year. And the main point of this new version was a reworking and many improvements in the way we deal with geodetic grid and geodetic adjustment grids. So we came with a new profile of GeoTIFF, which we coined as a GTG for geodetic TIFF grids. And this is something we try to promote beyond the project to the wider geodetic community. One of the main changes was to make those geodetic grids available through a CDN, which allows to perform on-the-fly transformation without having to download hundreds of megabytes of data sets. So this is really a new interesting feature. And we now bundle all those grids in one single package that distributors can split according to their needs. And we have a new utility, ProjSync, which enables the user to download the resource files it needs per bounding boxes, agencies, and other criteria. And so for the future, we will have next year Proj 8, and this will be the version when we will finally complete the transition from the older API dating back from 20 years ago to the new Proj 6 API. So if people are still using Proj API.h, please change to use a new Proj.h API, because Proj API is going to disappear very soon. And that's it.
Thank you, Ivan. So now we are going to move into our OSGeo incubating projects. I'm not, we are, all right, now we are moving on to Zoo project. Is Gerald here?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Yes, I'm here. So I'm sorry, but this year with this COVID-19, we did not make any release, unfortunately. So our last release is still from June 19th. We are hoping to come out with a 1.8 release, including the OGC API processes. We also tried, thanks to the OGC slot given by the OSGeo, to participate actively in the OGC API processes specification. Unfortunately, we have to admit that the modification, and mainly the last modification made in the specification, made us delay even more the 1.8 release. In parallel of this, Zoo project was selected to participate in the FIDIAS HPC project, to make evolve the HPC support in the Zoo kernel. So we made a lot of research and development, thinking about new ideas on how to implement our Zoo kernel mainly. This is why we are thinking of releasing a 2.0 version, including the AMQ for asynchronous execution. Also this year, we have participated in a GSOC project indirectly, as it was for MapMin for me. That was actually accessorily deployed in many countries all over the world during this year, and we made a slight modification, but important modification for lower level country. And finally, we took advantages of the Zoo project Saga GIS and Orfeo Toolbox support, and we integrating it. We have integrating it inside the MapMint product. Also, we have planned and discussed with many members of the community to have an incubation sprint to happen early this year, but unfortunately with the situation and the flights that are not available, we are not sure we can make it. Sorry for being so long. Okay, thank you very much for the time.
Thank you, Gerard. We are now moving to IST-SOS. Is Maxi here to present?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello, Maxi.
So this year we worked on improving some data handling capabilities. So we did the new release in the 23 April 2.4. And with this new release, we improved as I said, the capability to handle different type of measurements, time series. So we handle now the profile data type and the specimen data type, samples in the fields. And we implemented the localization version of the software. We planned for the incubation a incubation sprint in Malaga, in Spain, but due to COVID, we were forced to cancel it. And we will see if we can do it by the end of 2020. Let's see how it goes, or we will postpone in 21. And we participated in a workshop on the Italian phosphogene event. Yes, we are working now in updating the web interface, and more or less that's all.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to SCARI project. I don't have a name here of who is presenting, so although I see an update on the slides.
I'm presenting that. Can you hear me? Yeah, it's Timo from Finland. Thanks for the opportunity to present OSCARI here. And since last AGM, we had 4 releases, and the latest release notes are linked on the slide. And we are releasing actually a new major version this month, hopefully. All the code work has been done, but we still have to do some documentation work for that. And let's go through the highlights first for the year. So we have started to use React for new user interface modules. So everything that we make new, we use React. And we had a little project to write the layer tool for both administrators and end users with React. And 3D mode, we added some things. There's a control for time and also camera control, so that uses cesium or OL cesium in the background. And we separated the demo or sample app from the library code, so it's more, I don't know, Geoserver, GeoTools, SQ, or like something to that direction. Basic library updates, bug fixes, etc. Tuning the build for performance, since the OL cesium, including that, tripled the build time. So we need to do something about that. And a couple of words about the next major version, 2.0. A lot of library component updates. So Geoserver, GeoTools, Flyway, and Spring will all be updated. And we have this Jetty bundled installation or package. Then the Jetty version will also be updated. And obviously a lot of refactoring and code base cleaning has been done. Some words about the community. We worked on the website a bit. We made something called Map Gallery. We used to have something called Examples. Now it's a bit more intuitive and nicer looking. And also we merged the community and the OSCARI project itself web pages. We used to have 2 separate web pages, and now we only have 1. That's something we still have to work a bit on, but most of the work has been done for that. unfortunately, the contract with our community manager ended, so we had to make a new tender. That's work in progress. Should be open this month, I think. And I'm happy to say that the activity in Gitter has increased a lot. So that's a community effort, I suppose. And we have a couple more companies to do business or selling Oscari with as a service or then development work or support or something else. And incubation, it has taken some time from us, let's say, and we decided that this year we have to come to some kind of conclusion. Either we accept that we only want to be a community project, or then we do whatever needs to be done during this autumn. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for the report. And we are now moving into the OSGeo community projects. And we will start with PG routing. Vicky?
Yes. So I am here. I want to be there. Let's know the route. Right now, we are an OSGeo community project. We wanted to apply this year to be an OSGeo project, which is where we want to be. But COVID came on the way, unfortunately, besides other side effects that it had. And we moved our process for next year. And we hope that from here, community project, to there, OSGeo project can be done next year. You can see our report on the slide. Thanks.
Thank you, Vicky. We are now moving to Actinia.
Is Marcus still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Marcus, then better you than I.
Okay. Yeah, so Actinia is a project already on OSGeo Live, so some people may have seen it. Just a quick update here. It's a REST API around GraphGIS and other software. Gdal, of course. We have meanwhile also been packaging ESA Snap software, so we can do Sentinel processing, Sentinel-1, Sentinel-2 and such. And you can basically write up any process chain you want. You can write up your own Python scripts, put them in, or C, or whatever you prefer. It just needs to be in a process chain, which is written in JSON, and then you feed it to the system here. We have been doing first releases, so you see as back then in, I think, 1994, of course, totally not comparable with Linux, but to give a 1.0 version is always a big issue. So we are at 0.99.1 at time, but this doesn't really matter, as you know, with open source. So you can fetch releases from GitHub. There's a Docker image available. It is to be tested from your side if you're interested in OSGeo Live as well. And we have a set of tutorials and the demo server out there. You can try it. The demo server has, of course, with the demo user, some limitations, which means that you cannot compute on unlimited pixels, but the system will tell you and you can play around and see how things work. We are using it in various projects, so it's nothing which is just by itself, but it is a software which is also used in the real world. And from there also the motivation comes, at least from us, to continue with that, and pull requests are welcome, and just check out the system. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus, for the report. We are now moving to GeoStyler.
Yeah, I will. Hi, still again, I will overtake that. I think nobody from the project itself is there. GeoStyler is a quite new project. It just recently joined the OSGeo family, so I think the improvement to be an official OSGeo community project is about 4 or 5 weeks ago. Thank you for Incubation Committee to that. In general, GeoStyler is a JavaScript library for styling geographic data via a graphical user interface. There's also already a plugin to the Geoserver. It works format independent with a lot of formats like SLD, open layers, and so on. I had a talk on that on the last OSG in Bucharest. Probably you will find it still the video to that. There is a website, geostyler.org, which is quite easy to find. There's code, documentation, and there's also a tutorial how to use it. And it will also be on the next version of OSGeo Live. So I know one of the contributing guys is still working a little bit on the implementation of OSGeo Live. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Till. Now moving to PyGeo API. Tom, you want to take over?
Thanks, Angelos. Yeah, so we introduced PyGeo API at in Bucharest last year as a community project. PyGeo API is an emerging Python server-based implementation of the evolving OGC API standard. And overall, that entire effort from OGC API can be seen at the website ogcapi.ogc.org. So PyGeo API tries to cover the server side. So in terms of status updates, in the past 12 months, we've implemented numerous of the OGC API standards, draft or ratified. We recently committed OGC API Coverages Support, which is the new and evolving WCS specification equivalent from OGC. So we implemented that just a couple of weeks ago, and we're happy to report that we have support for rasterio backends, for those of you who are familiar, as well as supporting something called Xarray, which allows you to connect any of your multi-dimensional data to PyGeo API and serve it out through the OGC API Coverages specification. We're also working on OGC API Tiles, which is also evolving at OGC. That's the sort of new and updated WMTS, as well as OGC API Records, which is the new and updated evolving CSW equivalent. So a lot of movement on various APIs, given things are moving fluidly at OGC, where we try to keep track of them as best as we can. And we also had a Google Summer of Code help this summer. So we had students working on two parts of the PyGeo API stack. One is transactions, so being able to insert, update, delete various objects into the framework, as well as common query language support, or CQL support, which is as well going to be an updated standard from OGC, which allows for text-based queries or JSON-based query or filter language. We also stood up new documentation, which takes you all the way from front to back on how to install PyGeo API, how to develop on it, how to interact with the community. So we're excited about that. That is at docs.pygeoapi.org. The website is there, and we're happy to continue to evolve as a community project. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Just to add that PyGeo API is also a reference implementation for the OGC API features, right?
Right. Good point. Thanks. Forgot about that.
Right. So let's move to Geo Health Check. Tom, are you going to continue with this, or is Just with us?
I think Juice is here.
I'm here.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you for. Okay, yeah, Geo Health Check. That's a quality of service and uptime monitor for geospatial web services. So especially OGC web services. So it's more detailed checking than just uptime. It can check, let's say you have 100 layers and a layer number 97 fails. It can find that. It can crawl through layers, and you can find most of the information on geohealthcheck.org. We have several presentations there. I'll just give some status updates here. It's a Python project, actually started by Tom Kralidis. And the main updates for last year were the Python 2 to 3 migration, 3.7, Python 3.7. We had some sponsored development, which allowed us to do enhanced authentication. So we can also monitor authenticated remote OGC endpoints. Added support for the new OGC API, which was initially called WFS3, now OGC Api features. So we can monitor those endpoints as well. And even Esri ArcGIS feature server, which was sponsored development, and even Esri basic authentication, which is quite special. So those were the main updates from last year, and for the next coming year, we want to move to a REST API architecture. It's now a let's say a Flask templated application, but we want to decouple the backend from the front end and have a new web UI. And the idea is to maybe use Vue.js and other updates, integration with existing monitoring tools, and we would like sometime next year to apply for OSGeo project. So that's it for Geohealthcheck.
Thank you, Joost. Moving back to Tom for OWS Lib.
Thanks, Angelos. So yes, as a community project, OWS Lib is a long-standing Python client to interact with OGC Web Services. Project is coming up on, was started by Sean Gillies, and it's coming up on 14 or 15 years now. So it's been around for a long time. So if you are working with Python and you're accessing OGC Web Services kind of things, there's a good chance that OWS Lib is somewhere there. In terms of status updates, continuing along on the OGC API topic that's come up a few times in this meeting, we are implementing client support on OGC API. So we've implemented features, coverages, and record support in the master branch, as well as Common, which is sort of the new OWS Common from OGC. And I should probably mention that the whole idea of the OGC API effort is to lower the barrier to implementation and to be more web developer friendly. So I'll give you an example. Implementing the new OGC API features client in OWS Lib, comparing it with the code base on WFS1 or WFS2, actually the new specification took 1/3 of lines of source code. So very easy, very low barrier to implement. So we were able to develop that quite quickly. We dropped Python 2 support, and we're now supporting Python 3 only. And we continue to have numerous updates from the community, updates and bug fixes around the various updated modules for WCS, WPS, and the other specifications. So that's a bit of an update right now, and we continue to maintain the project over the longer term. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. So now it's time to move on to the local chapters and hear updates from our regional and regional chapters that are promoting our vision for open source all around the world. We are close to 2 hours, but I think we can continue with this pace, or if we can make it a bit faster for the next slides. But so. Let's hear it from Enoch for OSGeo Africa. Enoch?
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank
so
you.
For OSGeo Africa, yeah, our mailing list is one of the oldest ones, started in 2005. As of August 2018, we had over 1,000 subscribed members globally. Yeah. So from Force4G 2018 in Dar es Salaam, the volunteers group was converted into OSGeo African Telegram group. That's on Telegram. So as of today, we have over 70 members. So both lists are active. Communications going on basically on help and sourcing information on force and activism, sharing the related force events as well. But however, there still exists one important issue where Our chapter is not an official chapter, and there is little participation in OSGeo broadly from Africa. So yeah, if you're watching and you are in this AGM, kindly jump onto the mailing list. Let's kick off a discussion. Gavin kick off a discussion recently. Let's take it up. We need more participation, support, and volunteers across the continent. So yeah, some activities on the continent is having the Qgis user groups in both South Africa and Kenya. And this year, State of the Map with the Global OpenStreetMap conference was supposed to be in Cape Town, South Africa, but we all know due to the current situation, it was converted into a virtual conference. But activities across the continent also are emerging across OpenStreetMap communities are most users of OSGeo tools, and then we can see some activities from Ghana, example, and Togo, and across the continent. So yeah, increased initiatives also to support OSGeo software popping up in Eastern and Southern Africa, from Tanzania to South Africa as well. So yeah, I would like to stop here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are now moving to Argentina.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. I'm sorry I wasn't able to be online earlier to present FOSFORCI 2021 with Maria, but in Argentina, some of you know, we have been an OSGeo local chapter since 2019, and we have now an NGO that's been working for almost 2 years in not just the OSGeo community in Argentina, but also GeoChicas and OpenStreetMap. We are now becoming an official OpenStreetMap local chapter. And we held a regional event last year. This year, sadly, we weren't going to have a regional event because we are working very, very hard in the international conference for 2021. And if you can move on to the next slide, Astrid. But we have been trying to get online with our community and give webinars, especially about the most popular technologies used in Argentina, like Docker and GeoNode, and everything you need to do to go from private software to open source software. And we're very lucky that the community now runs itself. We have more than 250 users in Telegram that are interacting every day. So that's it for Argentina, and we really hope to see you next year here in Buenos Aires for the international conference.
Thank you, Malena. Let's move to Belgium. We have somebody here to present. If not, let's move to the next one. Okay, Qgis, Till, I guess it's you.
Or Astrid.
Or Astrid.
Astrid disappeared, so I can take that over.
I can do it. Okay,
yes,
sorry, I was not prepared,
because,
but I can do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've been in Freiburg.
So hello, everybody. Let's see. Yeah, so I tell you about Qgis, German, Austria, Switzerland, local chapter. So we had a conference just before the lockdown in March 2020. It was in Freiburg. And we had, normally there would have been 600 participants, but then only 388 came, and we had to close the conference one day earlier because then we couldn't meet with so many people. But it was a great conference with a lot of workshops and presentations. You can see 4 days with 124 talks and workshops, and our workshops, most of them were done with OSGeo Live. So it's always great to have OSGeo Live on board at the conferences. Next conferences will be in 2021. It will be in Switzerland, in Rapperswil, and it will be a hybrid conference because yeah, we want to make it online and in Rapperswil, so it will be both. And yeah, we had a hacking event this year with 23 participants, and normally there would be a second one, but we had to cancel it. We joined the virtual booth at the Arcade, and the main thing, which is really impressive, we started an office with Katja Haferkorn at the 1st of September. She's now working for us in Berlin and will work on all these things that have to be done for the local chapter. She helped us already as volunteer and for the Qgis conference. She was working for us for money, but now it's official and she has a contract with Qgis e.V. And there's another impressive thing this year. We have birthday, so we can say happy birthday, Qgis. In 2020, we celebrated 20 years of Qgis e.V. We celebrated virtually somehow, or have to do it because we couldn't meet in person. But yeah, 20 years we have now Qgis e.V. That's it from the German-speaking community.
Thank you, Astrid.
Maybe I can go on with this slide.
Please.
Dirk Fringe gave me some information about OSGeo Europe. He can't be here today. The organization is now liable for tax declaration, but in the end, nothing happened in the last year. And there has to be a reorganization of the board, so there should be an election. And yeah, if there should be activity in OSGeo Europe, we have to reorganize this local chapter because at the moment it's going.
Thank you, Astrid. We are now moving to OSGeo Finland. Timo or Pekka, are you here to present?
Pekka should be here.
Actually, Pekka had to leave a bit early, but I can go through this slide. So we have a new website for OSGeo Suomi or OSGeo Finland. Nice looking website. We were supposed to have FOSS4G 2020 Finland or 2020 Suomi in May, but we had to cancel that, obviously. And we are going to have a developers more FOSS4G called Dev Alpo in a couple of weeks, 25th of September, and that will be mostly online, but I think we are able to take some participants also on site. So I think that's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we are now moving to Osg of France.
Hi all.
Hello.
Nicolas from France. This year, I hope you heard me because I have a lot of reverb. This year we had to cancel the FOSS4G FR 2020 and it will be postponed to 2021. We hope to maintain the QGIS FR user days in December 2020. It's a typo, actually. You can visit the website on the link below. And we attend a few events with a booth about OSGeo and OSGeo France. Free and open source events like Capitole du Libre at Toulouse or the Paris Open Source Summit in autumn last year. And next week, Regis, which is here today, will be representing the OSGeo at the Geodata Days event in, I forgot the location, but it's not okay. It's okay. Still, we are working on the status of the association. And we have some system administration issues, mostly the website. So we are working on a new website also. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicola, very much. And we are now moving to OSGeo Hungary.
Yes, I am Zoltan from Hungary. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, thanks. So the Hungarian OSGeo local chapter has usually the annual conference in November. Last year we have more than 100 participants. We have a LinkedIn group where we have more than 200 members. The activity of the local chapter mostly on localization of Phosphor-G software, and the heart of this local chapter is a Geo for All lab at Budapest at the university. We have some courses mainly for QGIS, but we teach PostGIS, GRASS, and open layers also. We have some our small projects which are open source, and you can use that. And because of the pandemic, we plan our conference in this year online at the end of November. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now moving to the Italian chapter. Luca?
Hi, do you listen
Hello?
me?
Yes, we can hear you, yes.
Okay, so as the German chapter, we was quite lucky because we was able to have the conference early in February, just 1 week before the lockdown, the Italian lockdown. We had around 300 participants, and the conference is more or less stable with this number in each year. And for the first year, we had online webinar that was a really good way to promote our software, and also for the association was a good way to get a new member. Instead, we increased the number of members from 50 last year to 70 this year, and we had the new board from February, and we are now working on 2 events. One is for the next year conference. We plan to have it on a physical event. We don't want to have a local online event. So we are looking for the autumn and the winter to have no surprise of new COVID pandemic in Italy. And the other stuff is a session for a winter webinar, and this webinar should be in support of Italian association and for geological and engineering association. So should be quite useful for our association to get some new members. And finally, we are working on the candidate for the next Phosphor-G 2022 in Italy. It's we are hoping that the OSGeo conference committee will provide us some information for the new bid. And so we are at least we are working, and we are plan to candidate Florence as city, and let's see what happens. So that's it.
Thank you, Luca. Moving to OSGeo Ireland, Seth?
Yeah, I can take this. So yeah, to continue the theme, there were events planned for this year, but obviously they were cancelled the way things went. So we're starting to plan for next year and potentially moving to a university-based venue rather than hiring somewhere, as it reduces some of the risks of hosting an event, or moving to a fully online event. So the UK chapter's event this year was a good kind of model to follow. Also, we're going to try and work more with OpenStreetMap Ireland, who became official OpenStreetMap chapter in 2019. So there's a lot of crossover between people and projects, software and data. So to try and get more people and more attendees, then we might do a co-hosted event with them. And I guess the goals for next year are to try and increase the members of the chapter. So there's a lot of OSGeo users or users of the software, but to try and get people to join in more and become members of the chapter. So that's all, thanks.
Thank you very much. And now we're moving to OSGeo Japan. Nagashi-san?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So, about OSGeo Japan, the members become 679. And normally in Japan, annual event is 4 regions. So Tokyo, Kansai, Hokkaido, Tokai, recently Tokai, but because of the corona, COVID-19, so this year's event will be online event, 2 online events. One is Hokkaido and other is FOSG Japan online. And second one will be the SO team combination. So we hope that the attendee will be more than Noria. I hope. We hope. Yes. We hope that it will those will be successful. Okay, that's all.
Thank you very much for the update.
Okay.
And let's move now to the OSGeo Korean chapter. Sang-hee.
Hi everybody, I'm here. I would like to report OSGeo Korean chapter activities. Now we have around 800 members from Korean discussion mailing list. And last year, actually, we organized 4 events, including 3 technical workshops and 1 post-post Korea. And this year, due to the COVID-19, it was not so easy to organize the event in person. So we changed our platform to online. And this May, we organized the first online technical workshop on the COVID-19 and the role of GIS. And then we will have Post-Post Korea 2020 as an online event. So everybody is invited because we will have 2 different tracks. One track for Korean people and 1 track for English-speaking people. So everybody is invited, and we will open a call for presentation soon. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we are now moving to OSGeo Netherlands. Joost?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, OSGeo Netherlands local chapter has been established in 2011, and we are a legal foundation since 2012. So we have our website, osgeo.nl, you can visit, and also tv.osgeo.nl. I will talk about that a little bit later. Yeah, we have a yearly OSGeo conference, Phos4G conference. So the most important update is that, yeah, we had one Phos4G NL planned for June 2020 at the ITC in Enschede, which was cancelled, obviously. But the most important update I want to give you is that we developed what we call, it's Dutch, I'm sorry, the Grote Geo Show, which translates to the Big Geo Show. And it's a weekly live 1-hour broadcast, and basically meant to, yeah, engage our community and also bring some lightness in COVID times. So we developed a real, let's say, talk show format, so including a host. We had news and updates, of course, from the geospatial world. We had interviews. I will talk a bit about it later, and a live quiz. So yes, thanks for the next slide. So the website is OSGeo.nl, and we made 10 one-hour episodes, so a weekly episode of 1 hour. And in number of technology, hello. Yeah, we developed something around an online tool called Streamyard. So we were not using Zoom, Jitsi to have, let's say a real virtual broadcast studio, and you don't have to install anything. It's all web-based, and it's really the concept of a studio, and you can do all kinds of branding, and well, it's a different concept, and at the same time it's live streaming to YouTube and Twitch, including comments, and you can show the comments in screen, and and all the episodes are recorded. You can watch it back on YouTube, and I would say the setup is very suitable for any OSGeo, let's say, local chapter virtual event, and well, just ask us. And we are resuming. I should say, we are a team of around 10 to 20 people, and we gather in a Telegram group, and there we establish each episode. And we had also international guests. Anita Grazer was in the show, Christian Meyer. And of course, I should say the show itself is in Dutch, but sometimes we have international guests. And we are resuming now every first Thursday of the month, starting October 1. Yeah, that's about it. The main thing we did. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Zust. Thank you for the update. So we are now moving to Osg Oceania.
Yeah, good evening from Brisbane, Australia. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. So let me talk a little bit quickly about Osg Oceana. 110 members across the Oceania region, which is Australia and New Zealand, the Pacific Islands, and Timor-Leste. We're a new organisation. We formally put a structure together last year, but we, as a group, we've been going a little bit longer. We had a first conference in Melbourne in 2018, and then we had a second conference in Wellington in 2019. The conferences have done really well for us. We managed to create some revenue from that, which has worked out well to carry us through this COVID disaster, as I'm sure we're all familiar with. We had planned a conference in at the University of South Pacific in Fiji for 2020. Of course, we're all looking forward to a conference in Fiji, but that's not going to happen. So we decided to do something slightly different. Is we're going to do a bit of a hybrid model. We're going to do an online conference, but we're actually also going to run some regional hubs. So at the moment, we have 14 hubs around the region, cities in Australia, New Zealand, and in the Pacific. And how it's going to work is these hubs will run smaller one-day events, and we'll run a common 2-hour streaming sessions across all of these hubs. So a little bit different, but we're hoping that will bring in the benefits of both an online environment, but the benefits of networking with our fellow friends in the industry. We are just working on creating a couple of special interest groups. QGIS, first one, and the second one is OpenStreetMap, and I believe we're very close to, if not now, a local chapter of the OpenStreetMap Foundation. And that wraps up business in Oceania. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we are moving on to Quebec. Daniel, can you hear us?
Hi.
Oh, okay. So we're moving on, all right, to geospatial.org. Christina, right?
Yes, yes.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. I'm Christina on behalf of geospatial.org. So for us, it's been quite an active year. even though we didn't have much events. So we had the very successful FOSS4G 2019 Bucharest last year. I hope everybody enjoyed it. We had some time to actually gather our thoughts about the event and look back. And we recently published a thank you note to everybody that has participated to that event. So we invite you to actually check that on our blog. Due to the COVID-19 situation, we haven't been able to actually develop any of our annual sessions for students and professionals. So we didn't have any event organized in person, but we have been active on a platform where we try to map the COVID situation in Romania. That one is the COVID-19 geospatial.org platform. We've been engaging more people than usual. So we've been not only the people in OSGeo, but also some volunteers that are not part of geospatial.org, helping us to map the COVID cases in Romania. We also had a presentation at FOSS4G UK about it. Can we go to the next slide? Okay, thank you. With the platform, we had quite some exposure in the media. So many of the big news outlets in Romania took our effort and exposed it to the large population of the country, which obviously attracted a larger base of people. We also opened a Slack channel. So we transitioned from the mailing list to the Slack channel. And apart from the COVID-19 platform, we also have a special project that is the Romanian Cryptography Association, which is run apart from our usual activities. We still hold an International Cartographic Association affiliation with this, though we're still talking about the particularities of it. But we had, during the lockdown, some projects related to webinars dedicated to students and professionals on cartographic themes. And we partnered with the University of Timișoara for one of their conferences for a cartographic contest. And ultimately, we ran some exposure series for students that make maps. So that was kind of our activity this year. We're still engaged in the COVID-19 platform.
Thank you very much, Christina. And now we are moving to the Spanish chapter. Who is here to present? Lourdes or Vicky?
Okay. Lourdes, can you unmute your microphone?
Wait, please. Okay. Okay. Hi. My name is Lulu Hermosillo, and I talk about the Spanish chapter. The first part, we talk about the creation of the Peru Qgis user group, and then the Mexican Qgis user group became a civil association. This group organized two different events. The Cuarentena, this event consisted in 18 webinars, streaming live, covering different topics using OSGeo projects like QGIS, GRASS, PG routing, PostGIS, and others, held between March 3rd and May 25. Also, it has a second QGIS Mexico User Conference in November 2019. This conference was in the city of Guadalajara in Mexico. This conference has around 200 people. Sorry. Also, QGIS Spain has a General Assembly in June of this year. Finally, we are organizing for November for this year a virtual conference, the LATAM, with different members of the Latin American community. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we are moving to the next chapter. Okay, Twin Cities, Minnesota and USA OSGeo local chapter.
Yeah,
Jim?
advance the
Hello.
slide once to get the bullets up. So we have been having, well, can you click the
Yeah,
slide?
we can
Something.
hear you.
Yeah. So we've been having monthly meetings regularly on the second Wednesday of the month at locations around the Twin Cities, and then COVID hit. And so we couldn't meet anymore, but we found we could move to Jitsi and meet online, which was really kind of interesting because that kind of shifted it from, you know, some talk and support about open source geospatial projects and people kind of meeting and whatnot into kind of more of a formal presentation, and then kind of after a presentation we'd have just some chat back and forth. The other thing with that is that we've kind of got some, I don't know, alumni community members maybe with our heritage from map server and whatnot that are not in the Twin Cities, and it really allowed them to participate too. And so by moving online, we actually found we were getting a wider participation. And so what we thought was a big problem at first turned into something that was really kind of good. So I think we will be continuing that. So I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's what I got to say.
Thank you very much for the update. And we're now moving to OSGeo Sri Lanka.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Nimalika here, so presenting Sri Lanka chapter. So, hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So, before the lockdown, we managed to have our annual meeting, luckily. So soon afterward, it was like for several months, it's a bit difficult. It's a tough time. But latter part of 2019 and early 2020, we managed to have some workshops, especially for NGO sector and government sector. I think it's really helpful because we managed to introduce these things to survey department as well as some leading NGOs. And then we had to stop the work totally, but we have virtual meetups, but it's a little bit difficult to reach the communities in the rural areas really with NGO sector workshops because of the connectivity issues, this thing, but still we try to have virtual meetups to keep the spirit going on. And another major thing we wanted to have is having SOTM Asia in Sri Lanka, linking with OSGeo Sri Lanka chapter, because in Sri Lanka, we have a small community, both groups are almost the same. But due to lockdown, finally we had to postpone it to next year. So the next year SOTM Asia conference will be held in Sri Lanka, and OSGeo chapter will be organizing it, working with OSM Community Asia. So that's it for the moment. And I remind again, so next year there'll be a major event related to Asian community in Sri Lanka.
Thank you very much for the update. Let's move to the next slide and see if, okay, we have OSGeo Kosovo reporting.
Hello, this is Besper from Kosovo.
Hello, Besper.
This is our first report, basically. So I would like to take more time than other chapters, basically, if I can. So I want to present FLUSK as the first point. FLUSK is an NGO that promotes free software and open source in Kosovo. And we are doing as well OSM and GIS since 2009, basically in Kosovo. This year we formed as a local chapter. Also, what I would say is that last year in 2019, we had a conference called State of the Map Southeast Europe, where we promoted open source GIS, FOSS4G basically, and also OpenStreetMap parts. And also during this time, we are a bit not doing offline activities, but we are doing online and also promoting this type of things in different universities in Kosovo. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the update. I think we have the OSGeo UK now reporting, so I'm not sure if we can find this. All right, maybe we can reopen the slides from that point. Stephen, are you with us here?
I'm with you. Yes.
Yeah. All right. All right. We will try to bring up the slide for you. Sorry for the delay. Oh, it seems like we have a technical problem with the slides. Okay, so.
Do you want me to do it without a slide?
Just give me 10 seconds. Maybe I can bring the slide up for you. So I will share my screen. Can you, sorry.
That's fine.
Is it?
Yeah, that's fine.
Is it visible for you? Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Okay,
please,
so
please,
as you can see, we've got about 260 members. We think the event that we ran was pretty successful. And we've got our AGM online in a couple of weeks' time. But something I wanted to mention was that each year we try and we manage to make a surplus. So we build up funds and we use those funds to enable us to run a free event a few months ago. But we also use those funds to make donations to OSGeo projects. And we sponsor Regina and the PostGIS project. We sponsored I'm talking about recent sponsorships, the Code Sprint, the PostGIS Code Sprint. Bit over a year ago, we sponsored the Geoserver Code Sprint, and we've also contributed to the OpenLayers 6 call for funding and the call for funding that Lutra did for their enhancements to QGIS. And you know, we keep doing that and see that as an important part of our role. So, and that's it.
Thank you very much, Stephen, for the report. So we are now moving to a report from OSGeo initiatives. First, we will hear from Google Summer of Code and Rajat.
Hi, Angelos. I am here, Rajat.
Hello.
Thank you. Hi, all. I am Rajat, one of the Google administrators, one of the Google Summer of Code administrators for this year. You can see the Google Summer of Code 2020 report in the slides. But today, I want to emphasize on the initiative. So this initiative allows the OSGeo projects to grow, but not only that, it also allows the community projects and the projects which are under incubation to grow in terms of new functionality and also in terms of new contributors. So that in the future, this growth can be a key factor in the process of becoming an OSGeo project. So hence, I encourage the projects to participate more in the OSGeo Google Summer of Code initiative in the upcoming 2021. And like for this year, just to mention, this year we had 10 successful accepted proposals, and all of them successfully passed the GSOC 2020. So thank you so much. Thanks, Angelus.
Thank you very much for the successful report and project. And we are now moving on to Google Coding. And I think we have Victoria for this, or
Hi.
or Cameron. Cameron. Yeah, sorry, Cameron.
Yes. So yes, I was one of the administrators this year. So basically, Google Coding is just like an online competition that's aimed at introducing the pre-university students between the age of 13 and 17 years old to open source projects, development, and communities through short 3 to 5 hour tasks. So the tasks do range a lot. This was OSGeo's third year in participating in the Google Coding, as it was celebrating 10 years this year. But unfortunately, it's the last year of Google Coding, as Google have rather decided to focus their efforts on Google Summer of Code, which you saw beforehand, as well as Google Summer of Docs. So we had 16 members from OSGeo that contributed 110 tasks from 10 different projects, such as GRASS, GIS, Geoserver, GeoNode, PG routing, PostGIS, things like that. Our grand prize winners were Navar, Grog, and Pranay. So unfortunately for them, the trip to Google headquarters was cancelled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But we had 401 students that completed 976 tasks. So in our 3 years of Google Coding, that was the most amount of tasks we've had completed. So overall, we'd like to say it was actually a very successful year for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the report. And now we are moving to Google Season of Docs and Vicky.
Google Season of Docs. Sorry, I'm going to start over. Google Season of Docs was very successful this year. In the OSGeo Live project, we had a participant that made over 50 pull requests on the project, and it's all the modifications and technicalities are going to be included in OSGeo Live 14. The next year, I think it's not going to be run for OSGeo because there was no one to come up as an administrator. So I encourage other projects to participate as administrator and also to participate on the project for improving our documentation. Thanks.
Thank you, Vicky. And now we are moving to Helena for some updates on the archives.
I'm talking here for Peter, who has done some amazing job in preserving various documents, code, and other items for OSGeo. So you may be aware of photos that are stored on Flickr. There is over 3,500 photos tagged OSGeo. So there are some things for discussion that needs to be addressed regarding the posting on Flickr. So if somebody has an update, please let us know. But the main thing that Peter wanted to share was that the MOS code base, like the first open source geospatial software, was lost, but it was rediscovered. So he is now trying to come up with some ideas, maybe set up a special category of heritage project so that these codes are officially preserved within the OSGeo community. So that's all I have as an update about this. So it's more for discussion, for thinking about how to handle this. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Helena. So I think we are done with the OSGeo initiative reports. And we are going to move on with the SolCADS award. But before that, I want to give you some very sad news. This year we lost a very good friend and a big part of the map server project and an OSGeo charter member. So we lost Olivier this summer. So we are dedicating this AGM to him. And he was the creator of the tiny OWS project, and he served as a map server PSC member for many years. And most of us met him in the code sprint in Paris. So we send our condolences to his family. So now we can move to the SolCADS award for 2020. So I'm going to give the presentation to Astrid. So Astrid, it's up to you. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, hello. So it's now time for the announcement of the SolCADS award. And it's already the 16th time that this award is granted, and we normally do this at FOSS4Gs. A tradition is that the last year's recipients give the award to the winner. So this year, Even War, who received the award last year, and me have the honor to do it. The SolCADS Award for geospatial free and open source software is awarded annually by OSGeo to individuals who have demonstrated leadership in our community. The award is named after Salomon Stuart Katz, aka SolCADS. And SolCADS was an early pioneer of our community and led behind a large body of work in the form of applications, formats, specifications, and utilities. In the early 80s, Sol assisted in the development of a public domain GIS package called MOS. We just heard about it from Helena, Map Overlay and Statistical System, it's called. And we heard that the code is now showed up again, and we hope to archive it. So this software was arguably the first open source GIS software in the world. He was also one of the first involved in public data translator utilities that he developed for converting DEM and reading SDTS files were contributed back to the geospatial community and are still available today. Sol was also a frequent contributor to many geospatialist servers, providing much guidance to the geospatial community at large. He was a great person, always full of laughter and good humor. Sadly, after fighting non-Hodgkin lymphoma, he died in 1999. But his legacy still lives on in the GFOSS world. So with this award, we both acknowledge the work of community members and also pay tribute to one of its founders. Some weeks ago, we asked our community through the mailing list to make nominations for outstanding members in our community. We got some nominations, and the recipients of the former years, they voted, and now we have a new winner. I will pass now to Evan to announce our winner for the year 2020.
Thank you, Astrid. I'm honored to announce the name of the new recipient of the SolCADS Award. The winner for this year is a spatial data scientist and an open source GIS advocate. This person is doing mobility research. He or she is encouraging people to get involved through social media, blog posts, presentations, podcasts, and courses at university. This person has served on the OSGeo board of directors. He or she is best known for being involved with one of the most successful OSGeo projects. This person has served on this project's steering committee since 2013 and authored not less than 7 books on it. This project is QGIS. This project has also developed the QGIS Time Manager plugin. This person lives in Austria You may know her on social media as Underdark GIS. I'm of course speaking about Anita Grazer. Congratulations, Anita. This is much deserved.
Thank you very much, Evan. Thank you, Astrid. Yeah,
we can't hear the applause, but I'm sure
yeah,
there's a huge applause going on now.
Thank you so much. It's really a huge honor to be selected for the Solkats Award. And I'd like to take this opportunity to say a few words of thanks. I've actually written them down to avoid the risk of just winging it. So as people working in open source projects, we are constantly reminded that we are standing on the shoulders of giants. However, particularly this year, we also see just how important the small personal connections are. So for me, my involvement with open source communities, it really took off when I joined the QGIS Hackfest in Vienna in 2009. And I felt that my participation there was really appreciated and welcome. And nowadays, I couldn't imagine being without these connections anymore. So I want to thank the whole QGIS community, particularly my fellow PSC members, both current and former, as Tim, Andreas, Jürgen, Richard, Paolo, Otto, Marco Hugo Tobler, Alessandro, our new chair, Marco Bernasocchi, and of course, QGIS founder Gary Sherman for starting this awesome project and for still being around and for actively promoting geospatial open source by publishing so many great books covering multiple different OSGeo projects. I'd also like to thank my partner and my family for being incredibly understanding whenever I'm spending my time geeking out over new programming projects or data analysis or forum questions or conference talks. And I'd like to thank my friends, colleagues, and fellow members of the larger OSGeo community for sharing ideas, providing valuable feedback, and for spreading the word about all the great work that is going on all around us. I'm constantly amazed also today by all the great innovation happening to nourish and grow our community, and I'm looking forward to continue being part of these efforts. Thank you so much.
Okay,
thank you very much, Anita, and congratulations. Back to you, Astrid. So, Astrid, we have one more slide. Do you want to share it or?
I can, yes. Okay, I think we are at the end of the AGM now. And you can see now my slides, but Angelos?
Yeah. So yeah, it's.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's so we are the AGM has come to an end. It took us 48 minutes more than expected, but I think it was very informative because we got to hear everyone, and it's always good to have this kind of feedback, even in the COVID and under the COVID problems. So we now, since this is a webinar, we can now move to a more open discussion, and we have a specific room for this. The link is shown there, and it's on the wiki. So we can now exit the webinar and start joining the open discussion, the meeting. So we can also congratulate Anita and also discuss about the future of Phosphor-G. And then if everybody is interested, we are going to open up a room tomorrow at 16 UTC. We initially had planned to do a board meeting right after the AGM, but we thought that it would be better to be more open and hear from the community, because today we only had presentations and slides. So maybe tomorrow we can also have an open discussion. So we will open the meeting room now, and we will move over there, and also we will be available tomorrow for more discussion. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending the AGM for 2020, and we really hope to host the next AGM in Argentina next year during the Phosphor-G and get back to our normal process. So many thanks for everybody who joined and everybody who presented, and it is really an amazing community to be part of, and thank you very much. So congratulations, Anita. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Bye.